Hello, hello, everyone. I am so excited for this week's Community Spotlight. We are chatting with MishManners this week. How are you? I know you're busy.
I'm so good, thanks. Thank you so much for having me on the show. First of all, I do want to apologize for my background and my lack of awesomeness because you have such an amazing background, and my background at home is so cool. I'm currently in a hotel room on the 69th floor in a building in Atlanta, America. So I only have my little setup with me, but thank you so much for accommodating that.
Of course. And you sound wonderful, and the Wi-Fi is good, even on its 69th floor. See, you're set.
Yeah, I'm set.
Oh my gosh, 69th floor. I didn't even
It's
know they
so
even went
big.
up that high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so big. There's only one more floor above me and then the restaurant. So it's so high.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know you're very busy, but I am excited to share your story, talk a little about why you love fundraising with Tiltify and all that fun stuff. So, if everyone that's listening doesn't know who I am Miss Ash Rocks, or you can call me Ashley, Miss Ash, whatever works for you. Go by she, her pronouns. I am Tiltify's community manager. I get to highlight awesome people like Mish and awesome charities that work with our platform and so forth. So we're just going to dive right in. We're highlighting Mish today. So, Mish, can you tell us a little bit about your content creation journey, your background? Because I know it's lengthy. I want to hear all about it because you wear
Alrighty.
many hats.
Yeah, right. So like content creation journey in terms of streaming, I just remember one day like I was playing Overwatch and we're all in the Discord, like the voice chat, and
Yeah.
I died quite early and I was waiting to revive, and while I was dead, I just like kept commenting on everyone's little bits and pieces that I was like, "Ha, you like got hit by a Junkrat there," and like I just like had all these silly little comments. So I was like, "You need to stream." And so like literally a couple of days later, I'm like, "Okay, I think I'll stream." So I just had a tiny little, like, the webcam that was part of the computer. I just had a headset that was nowhere near as good as this, and I'm also on my travel headset. I didn't have any microphones or anything, just like something like this. But this is actually pretty good for traveling. But yeah, I just had something little, and I pressed the go live button. I just started streaming, and I really enjoyed it. So I just kind of went from there, and it's really grown. I moved from like a tiny little desk space as well to like a full room. I went from like having a piece of green fabric as my backdrop to like really cool nano leaf lines and neon and cool. And if you haven't seen my streams, you'll see like my really cool backgrounds, and it's really fun. And I've kind of grown a bit from just doing. I mean, I've always been a variety gamer. I like variety. As you say, I wear many hats. So I also play many games. Um, I've also branched out a little bit too into like live coding and stuff like that too, and like building projects and stuff on stream, and also even doing like AMA sessions. And yeah, so it's been so fun. It. I mean, it's not a very massive community. I know some of the people that stream for like St. Jude and Raise Money like have, you know, like hundreds of thousands of followers. So we have a much smaller community, but it's so good. It's like, and my whole idea was just to build something that like anyone could feel welcome coming in, just hopefully there's something that resonates with them because I do so many different things. So they should be able to find something that's like good. I just want to build a really, really positive community that was just welcoming of everyone. It's PG only stream, so welcoming of all age groups as well. And yeah, I just wanted to like, I don't do it for a living, I do it for fun. And yeah, I just really enjoy it, and I'm just like so happy to still do it. I still even do them while I'm traveling. So I've done a couple of live streams while I've been on the road, and I'll probably do one tonight, depending on how late our conference goes today.
Yeah, I love it. Wow. And how long have you been streaming on Twitch?
Yes, I think it was 2000 and what year was it? Somebody said it the other day, and I was like, "Oh yeah." I usually know because like a couple of my like early subscribers, they always come in. And it's like 50-month streak, and so I was like, so I think it's like
Yeah,
4 years now, about 4 and a bit years. Yeah.
that's awesome. And you
So
just do it as a hobby, just having fun and
yeah,
just building your community and still streaming while you're traveling.
yeah,
Wow.
got
So
to.
what keeps you busy on your feet every day and traveling?
Yeah, so I work as a developer community or the developer community manager used to be my old role. Wow, that's going back like a number of years now, like 3 years ago. I'm a developer advocate at GitHub, and I get to do amazing work with developers. So we advocate for developers, not necessarily to developers, but for the amazing things that they're doing, and also like understanding like the needs that they have as developers, and trying to help them obtain those. And so I get to like go around the world and go to lots of conferences. And like currently I'm in Atlanta at Render ATL, which is a big tech conference. And I just did my talk yesterday on Git, which is source control. So like doing version control on like your files. So like for example, you sent me a Word file before.
Mhm,
Source control would be that file having all the versions, like all the different versions of that file in it. So kind of like your Google Drive, like how you can like go
mhm,
back to a version. That's source control. So we have source control when it comes to coding, and it's called Git. And so I did my talk on GitHub, which is where I work, which is a place to store your Git. But it's also a place for people to come together and collaborate and build code. And then I also talked about, so it was GitHub, and gaming. So I got to talk about how video game developers do source control and some of the issues that they face when it comes to source control of video games, which was really, really cool. So that was this conference's talk. And then 2 weeks ago, I was talking about GitHub Copilot, which is our AI pair programming tool that we've built to help developers and people who are learning code how to code better, like or quicker, by basically having an AI pair programmer to sit there alongside with you and help you code. And I also talk about things like the GitHub CLI, which is using GitHub on the terminal. And I get to talk about other not as technical things too, like how developers and non-developers can work better together, and like why collaboration is important, and how to build an amazing team, whether you're working as a developer, whether you're working on a tech project, whether you're building a Twitch team or a stream team, whether like it even applies to things like Call of Duty or Fortnite. So like yeah, it's pretty cool.
wow.
I get to do lots of really cool things.
Oh my gosh. And how long have you been doing this field of work?
So I've been working for GitHub for 4 years. Officially
Mhm.
as an employee, I've been working for like 7 years unofficially. I've been working in this type of role, like in tech and speaking at events and running events and doing hackathons and meetups and things like that for like 9 years. We worked out yesterday, so yeah, eight
Wow.
9 years, something like that.
Oh, that is so cool. I love seeing women in tech, especially coding, and you are traveling all around the world sharing your knowledge and probably inspiring other women to get involved in this industry and saying, "Hey, I'm successful. This is what I've learned so far." And I love that. I am so
Thank
proud of
you.
you. I'm so happy
Oh,
that I'm getting to,
I'm
learn a
feeling
little
the
bit
love
more
over here.
about you. Yeah, because I was so busy at the summit. I know you were too. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to talk to Mish. I have to. I wanna get to know her." So, wow, this is awesome, very inspiring. I've at the back of my mind for a little bit, I'm like, "I wanna get back into tech." I was working at a school district, before, just as a computer technician for, a long time, maybe 6, 7 years, I can't remember, before my position here at Tiltify. I'm like, wow, the impact that I would have right now if I was still in tech and I could talk about that, especially
It's
with my
big.
stream. It's huge. And I want you
Yeah,
to continue doing it because we need women in that space. So
100%.
thank
And
you.
to give you like
Yeah.
a little like a feel good moment. So we have 3 speakers from GitHub at this conference, and we have I think 8 or 9 people all up working for GitHub at this conference for the booth. Every single one of them is a woman, and half of them are women of color.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. So, like, for
Wow.
example, the whole speaker lineup is all women. There's
Yeah.
myself, Rizal, and Neha, one of our VPs,
Yeah.
and, all women, which is amazing. Like, half women of color. And then, yeah, all our booth staff are all women and, yeah, half women of color as well. So
Oh,
it's really awesome to
wow.
see, like, And then actually somebody came up to me today because they saw that I tweeted it. It's on my Twitter if anyone wants to go see it. They're
Uh-huh.
like, so whose decision was it to do that? And I was like, no one. Nobody decided that. It just happened because we
Happened.
have so many amazing women at GitHub and so many amazing people of color at GitHub as well that it just happens like that. So it's even cooler. The times are changing.
That's awesome. You're doing incredible work. So, thank you for everything you're doing.
No,
I
thank
don't know.
you.
I'm getting teary eyed. I'm like, wow, you are really making waves, and especially working
No,
with
thank
women of
you.
color in this space and supporting them, elevating them too, because I know that's exactly what you do. So, oh,
Thank
I
you.
love it. You keep it up, girl. You
Thank
go,
you.
girl. Wow. Okay. So, hey, we just talked about why Mish is busy 24/7 because she's doing a really impactful work. But guess what? She is still fundraising and streaming
Yeah.
outside of this. I what is it like to have a community to fundraise with and support different charities that you're passionate about?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I think, especially being as part of like St. Jude Play Live Summit, you just felt like, the love that everyone like shares and just having a community that you can fundraise with. And like this year, like I know this year's been a lot harder. I've
Yeah.
been, not as many streams as like we would have for a charity campaign, but like I know it's like financially hard on a lot of people. And
Yeah.
so I know that a lot of people could not give as much as like we usually like would. Like I did not raise nearly as much as I have in the past. And like that's totally okay. And like I love that part of St. Jude where they were just saying like every single dollar counts. And that's what I was trying to like communicate with my community. Like every single dollar counts. So if you can only spare a dollar, that's fine. As like Danny Thomas, the founder of like St. Jude said, he would rather receive $1 from a million people rather than $1 million from one person because you're spreading that message. And then the other thing I kept like saying to people is even if you can't donate a dollar, like coming into the stream, a view, a like on the tweet, anything, that is just showing your support for St. Jude. It's helping to spread the message of St. Jude so that other people know about it. And eventually down the track, if people do either get more money or they know other people, like we can spread that message. And I think that is so valuable. So it's not always about the money at the end of the day. And I do wish that we could have raised a lot more this year. But like, again, I'm just taking it back to that every dollar counts and you know the hundreds of dollars that we did raise is going to go to do such amazing things for St. Jude. So it just feels like so good to be able to pass those messages because even as someone who like I donate to charities quite often as
Mm.
well, and sometimes I feel like is my $10 or my $100 or like even my $500 or $600 is that making a difference when you're seeing people like donate $1 million? You're like, well, what is my $700 against like that $1 million? But it
Yeah.
makes so much difference, right? Is like the accumulative effort that everyone puts in. Like for example, at St. Jude this year, we raised nearly $3 million combined, and that's 3 million US. So for my viewers back in Australia, that's like you know 4.5 million, $4.5 million for Australians. Like that's significant, and we can only raise that money by everyone's combined effort. So if you even gave, even $1 or even retweeted it so that somebody else donated a dollar, like that is amazing, and that is the power of community, and that is why I like doing these types of streams. Where like, you know, whether we raise $100, $1,000, $10,000, at the end of the day, it's also about the message that we spread. And that selflessness, I think, is what it should come down to as well. Like
Yes.
getting people to think of the other, of another person rather than ourselves. I feel like a lot of what we have in society now is very much pushing us to you do you do what you want, and whatever benefits you, and if it steps on other people is fine. It's kind of like this weird kind of higher up overarching message that kind of seems to filter out through like culture and stuff. And that's why I
Mhm.
like doing charity stuff because it puts you like in the shoes of other and like actually like you know you feel like you want to help other people, and I think that's really gets us back in touch with our humanity and really like, brings us actually closer to other people. So that's why I like doing it.
Absolutely. Wow. You said everything that I couldn't agree more with. Every dollar counts. Bringing awareness to the cause is number one. Just creating that campaign, streaming, and your community is hyping it up, retweeting on Twitter. You never know who that is going to reach.
Hmm.
Uh, that is so impactful. And yes, the economy has been so different in the last few years, especially with the pandemic happening. So,
Yeah.
yes, I've been telling everybody, even as a community manager, I'm like, hey, do what you can. Don't
Yeah.
feel bad. It's not you.
Yeah. And
People
I
are
feel
at least here to support.
definitely, and I feel like, just making people feel comfortable in that too. Like I had few people that were like, I don't know if I should come into the stream because like that person's raising money and I don't have anything to give. So like, do I even have a place watching the stream? Yes, you do. You're being there, you're
Mhm.
supporting it. Like you watching it is support. Even if you can't like, I had people say even like, people who, they were putting in the chat like, Mish, I really love what you're doing. I unfortunately,
Yeah.
I have no money right now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fine. I know it's hard on people. Like the cost of living, from talking to people here in America, the same thing in America is also happening in Australia. Like the cost of living's gone up, cost of rent's gone up, the cost of everything's
Yeah.
going up. Like I know it's hard on people. So I'm not expecting everyone to have money. Like it's fine. Like you don't have to always be able to give financially because like there's so many other
Exactly.
ways to give. So just making people
Yeah.
feel comfortable in that.
Yes, that is so important. I don't even think I've ever talked about that. So that's really, really well said. Just making people comfortable to be in the space of you fundraising. Hey, just hang out here. That's all you need to do. Hype up chat. Throw the command in chat. Those are ways that you are giving back to the cause.
Mhm.
So yeah, you being there is what we need. That is what we want. We want you to be there all the time. So I love that. That is very well said, Mish. Thank
Thank you.
you. And, you fundraise with Tiltify. What are
Mhm.
some of your favorite things of fundraising with our platform?
I love using Tiltify because it's just like they understand what we want as streamers. Like, you've got all the overlays and the commands and having like the chat bots and things like, and having like, like some of the cool new things you've added this year, like, your milestones, even like the employer matching, things as well. So like if your employer does match donations, you can get that sorted out through the platform now. So it's just like it makes fundraising so much easier. Because I remember like fundraising for campaigns, like streaming, but they don't that like the campaign hasn't have a streaming presence. So you have to build everything yourself. You have
Yeah.
to build like, do I just use like a text overlay and like stream elements or whatever? And I like build like a little ticker going and you kind of
Mhm.
have to say like everything's verbal, like there's no plugins of like alerts for like somebody raised like,
Yeah.
donated money or whatever. So it's always like it's a lot more work on you. And so I feel like, having Tiltify is just so good because you can just like, the alerts are there and people can just like interact. Again, it makes people feel more comfortable being in the stream who can't actually fundraise because they're able to interact with all of that stuff and like be hype people for other people who like, yay, someone fundraised. This is awesome. And like, all the emojis go off and like it's so cool. And
Yeah.
like having the plugin and the stream elements as well just makes everything just like so much easier. So I just want to thank you so much for all the work you do at Tiltify because it's just so amazing, makes things so much easier for us.
Shout out to our dev team.
Yes,
They're
thank you, dev
amazing.
team.
They work so hard every day, always trying to make it even more and more easier. I'm like, are you really aiming to do that? How can it get more easier? And then they
Yeah, yeah,
just shock
exactly.
me. Every
Yeah,
time we have a meeting, I'm like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. I love it. Keep working on it.
yeah, 100%.
But yes, yeah, overlays are features. It just makes the fundraising experience fun. And
Yeah,
that's what we aim to do. We want you to be able to set up your campaign in just a few minutes, add your incentives if you want. You don't have to, but we try to make it easy, especially with overlays. Doing the
so good.
template. The template you could use over and over for your future campaigns.
Yeah,
Showed
I
a couple
realized I
people
was
that
like,
this week.
yeah, because when I set mine up, I was like, "Oh, I gotta go through all the setup," and I was like, "Wait a minute, it's already set up from last year. All I have to do is, like, click the drop down and, like, click the
Yep.
current campaign." It's, like, so Just
Oh my
it
gosh.
made things so much easier. Thank you, devs.
Yes. Yes, and especially because I have different overlays for just chatting, my gaming screen, if my camera's on the left or the right, I have multiple different templates. So,
Yeah,
yes, take advantage of it. And
100%.
I know we talked to you gave a lot of tips earlier in our chat, but I still want you to deep dive into this, okay? Let's say I come to you and I'm like, "Hey, Mish, you've done a lot of good fundraising with your community. I want to start my first campaign on Tiltify. Do you have any tips that you can give me?"
Yeah, sure. So I think the first one would be like, think about what your community is and like tailor things that make sense to them. Like, for example, like the pie face thing is great, but if you come from like, a culture where that's just not a thing, like there's no point doing that, right? And I'm not saying that
Yeah.
there's any cultures that don't do the pie face because like, pie face is awesome. But like have milestones and incentives that make sense for your audience, but also that makes sense for your like type of stream. So, like for example, if you look at all the different streamers who are streaming for St. Jude, they often have different like incentives and rewards based on the type of stream they were doing. Like I had different ones for my Fortnite as well. Like one was like you could pay to like make me only use gray weapons for the game, and everyone's like, we want to see this, like this is going to be so good. Again, people know I travel a lot, and so I've got lots of travel stories, and some of them are hilarious. So some of my incentives were my travel stories, and everyone's like, what's this story about? Like, how do we know what this? I was like, okay, when we get to $1,000, you'll find out what it is. And people are like,
Yeah.
yes, we want to know what it is. So like, we want to hear it. So like, do things that like are unique to you that make sense to your audience and to the like the game you're playing. Like, that crowd control stuff you can do is like so good if you're playing things like Stardew Valley or Breath of the Wild and things like that. So find things that make sense. I also liked what Dr. Lupo or Dr. Lupo and Mrs. Dr. Lupo said as well at the St. Jude Summit, which was like instant gratification is so good. Like I've done streams in the past, and you know me, I get like quite busy where it's like, oh, we're gonna do like a cooking stream, and like we did it, but it took like weeks and weeks before it was actually happening. So now I'm like, for this year, I was like, all right, everything's instant gratification. If we hit that milestone, it's happening right then and there on stream.
Yeah.
If we hit this, like, that incentive happening then and there. It's not like, I'm not trying to set myself up for like future campaigns. If you've got more of a regular schedule, you're not traveling as crazy, that might be a good thing because you can like hype that up a lot. But for me, I just found that like, setting that up was like that extra amount of work that I just wasn't, not that I mind extra work, but I just wasn't sure with like scheduling and things. But the other reason is, and they didn't quite talk about it at the summit, but like the other reason is that you don't know if the people who are donating are going to be in that future stream. So like having that
Exactly.
instant gratification then and there for them right then and there that second made so much sense. So a lot of my streams, it wasn't like I gave away a lot of stuff. So it was like at the end of the stream, we gave away that thing. So like I played Call to the Lamb. We had some Call to the Lamb game codes to give away. I'm like, at the end of the stream, these are given away. We're not waiting to the end of the campaign. You're here. You're watching now. Like you get it at the end of the stream. So I think doing
Yeah.
like that instant gratification type stuff is really good. The other thing is again another Mrs. Dr. Lupo and Dr. Lupo tip, but something that I do quite a lot is going to your current sponsors and asking for things. Like they want to help out with
Yes.
charity fundraising. Like I have a lot of contacts in the space. So like Razer sent me a camera, Corsair sent me a headset, HyperX sent me a headset, Coastal Lamb sent me game codes, Bungie sent me Destiny Lightfall codes, Bethesda sent me like Elder Scrolls codes, Woody, like the wearable blanket, sent me an Woody. Like you can go to your community and ask for these things. And as I was saying to someone literally earlier today, I don't have nearly as big a community and nearly the amount of numbers in terms of concurrent viewers and fundraising dollars as a lot of the other
Yeah.
people who are doing these campaigns, and I'm able to get those things. So if you have like much higher numbers, you can get a lot more stuff because people want to help. You just need to know how to sell yourself, and to sell your like the value that you're giving. So I think like that is super, super valuable. So I would definitely like, jump on that as a tip as well.
Wonderful pieces of advice. Yes. Even if they're not your sponsor, you message that brand, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm fundraising all month. Do you want to support it? I would love to have you a part of this initiative, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And, like, we got
yes.
heaps of viewers on, like, these kinds of things. People like, "Oh, yeah, I really wanna
Yeah.
win that. Like, that's really cool, and, like, this is awesome." That and then the brand has a really good, like, feel good vibe because people are always saying to me, "Oh, it's so cool that Bethesda gave you, like, that." You know, so it's great that they're supporting charity, and it's awesome that Razer, like, Australia actually has a presence and, you know, is
Yeah.
able to support these kind of things. And same with, like, because these are all the local brands that I reached out, or like the local branches. So it was Corsair ANZ and Razer ANZ and HyperX ANZ.
Mhm.
So everyone's like, wow, this is awesome that, you know, we have these local presences and they're willing to help out these types of charities. So I think it's really, really valuable.
Absolutely. Oh, that, yeah. There you go. You just have it all down, okay? The advice,
I tried
everything you're
to.
doing. Look at you. Oh my gosh, that was perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And here we go. All right. The
All right.
emotional part. Okay. Let's say I ask you to write a thank you letter to your community for everything they've done with you. What would it say, Mish?
Well, first of all, I'd ask ChatGPT. No, I'm just kidding. No, like seriously, I just want to say like a massive thank you to all my community. Anyone who's watched even a second of my stream during the charity campaign, anyone who's had any eyes on my tweets, especially those who interacted with them, whether they liked them or retweeted them. As I said, like it's all about, you know, getting eyes on the actual campaign and eyes on the cause here. Like I know that a lot of you could not like give as much as you could like in previous years. And I know that I myself couldn't give as much in terms of my stream time because I've just been so busy. But I just want to thank everyone so much for every little bit of effort that you gave because all those little bits of effort combined add up to be a much bigger effort and they make so much difference for the kids at St. Jude, for the families at St. Jude, and actually to cure cancer all around the world. So I just want to thank you all so, so much.
Love it. That is wonderful. And again, see, whatever you can do for charity, do it. All right. But burnout is a thing. I just want to make that clear. And mental health.
100%.
Mental health
Yeah.
is a thing. So you can't pour from an empty cup. And remember,
Yes.
you can fundraise for these causes outside of their fundraising events. Okay. You can fundraise for St. Jude
Always.
at any time of the year. Okay. Any time of the year. And that goes for any cause, you know, especially on
Mhm.
the Tiltify platform. So don't feel bad that you weren't a part of Play Live this season, me, because I was way too busy and just, yeah, just way too tired, you know? So I feel bad sometimes, but I'm like, no, I can't feel bad because I'm supporting other people, you know, in the
Exactly, you're
community.
doing the
It's what
community
they're
work.
doing.
Like, you were
Yes.
definitely retweeting and re-Instagramming all my stuff, so I wanna thank you for doing that because you did say at the summit, "Tag us because 'cause we'll share it," and you did, which is
Yep.
awesome. So, like, you're doing the work that is helping enabling everyone else, like, you're the enabler, so thank you for all the work. Do not feel bad that you didn't stream because I just wanna thank you for all the work you do, all the work all the devs do on, like, making the tools so easy for
Yes.
us. And also just like listening to all our feedback too on like what we want and what we would like to see
Hmm.
because it just makes our job so much easier when it comes to fundraising.
Yeah, we're a platform for you. So, hey, we have to listen to our community. That's number one. So yeah, shout out to Izzy, our social media. We work very well together,
Thank you.
coming up with these story beats and how to highlight our community. So thank you for always tagging us because I see it. I'm like, yes, yes, everyone's listening. Thank you. Keep tagging us because we want to see it all. But Mish, you have been absolutely wonderful. I know you have a busy day ahead. I can't wait to see or hear about it later on.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your time so much and thank you for everything you're doing in the space, you know, the tech space and fundraising space, streaming space, all of the above. And keep going. Make sure you rest. Okay. I don't know how
Yes,
many
yes,
hours of
I will.
sleep you're on. Okay. But
Not
rest.
that many. So yeah, thanks again. Yeah, and I know you said you were gonna look out for all the cool things I'm doing later today. So if anyone else wants to look out for all the cool things I'm doing too, you can follow me, MishManners, on pretty much every social media platform. Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. I do have a TikTok account, although it's not that active. But yeah, please look out. My Instagram stories are like lit. So you definitely have to go check
Mm-hmm.
out the party that we're at
Yep.
last night. They had like slides and merry-go-rounds and all this. It's basically a carnival, but there was
Wow.
0 line and it was all free. So you have to check out the Instagram story there.
Ooh.
And my Twitters as well, because I always put like, thank yous to the community. We'll be announcing all the winners as well for the rest of the giveaways for my St. Jude Play Live campaign on Twitter as well. I mean, announcing them on Twitch, and I'll put them on Twitter for the winners as well. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mish. You've been amazing.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much
for
for your
taking
time.
the
We'll be chatting
time.
soon. Everyone
Thank
that
you.
watch this community spotlight, make sure you follow Mish on all socials and keep up with her. All right. And all the amazing
Thank
things
you,
she's doing.
everyone.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.